Hi, Howard. How are you doing
Hi, how
today?
you doing? How are
Doing
you? Good
good.
to see you again.
Yes, yes. We're doing different than the past. We're at a hot day in London
Yep.
with all the fans last time, so it's good to be not hot today. But also, I'm so glad to chat with you again about this series.
Yep.
The first time when I chatted with you, I'd only seen the first half of the season. Now I've seen the second half, so it was so interesting to see the mansion where we were at. I'm like, oh, I've actually been in that
Yeah.
location, so it was interesting to see that. But I want to ask you, this is something that I asked Deborah as well, is that we don't get a lot of the background of the Duke and Joy relationship. We really see, what happened right before things happen, and then we see the present day. So I want to know for you and kind of like how you work together with Deborah, bringing this to life, filling in what we don't know about their dynamic, because
Yeah.
the audience, we don't see the years that they went through, but we still feel that emotion in the scenes and knowing this history that they have shared. So what was it like for you to bring that to screen, despite the fact of that part really not being showcased in the series?
Well, yeah, I mean, just because it's not necessarily front and center doesn't mean it's not a part of the process and a part
Hmm.
of the building of that character. And so, I'm someone who does an extensive amount of research and building of the character from the ground up, as it were, and your history, anyone's history, is a part of that. And so I was very clear about our history going into it, and then I do remember us having a conversation where we were, I think, alongside with the showrunners, exchanging ideas about what that was,
Hmm.
so we could have that shared history. But it really just it helps you embed the character that much deeper, and as if you're dyeing fabric, the color becomes even richer
Yeah.
because you've done that work and you've had those conversations and made those decisions
Yeah.
about your history. So yeah, it's really imperative to be singing from the same hymn sheet, as it were.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that immediately when we meet him in the series, and when we see him post incarceration in the series, we know that he's
Mm.
kind of very focused on what his objective is. And as the episodes go on, we see that he's also trying to catch up on things he's missed and just things that other things that he may not have been aware of that kind of impact, maybe impede a little bit on this singular goal that he has. What was it like being
Right.
able to take the character through things such as, Aiden, such as, things like that that may not be initially things that we thought about the character?
Well, best laid plans, it's I think that when Duke returns home to London, there's one thing burning inside him, and that is to avenge the death of his brother,
Hmm.
and to find Kingsley and completely annihilate his entire empire. And who knows after that? I think within Duke there is some hope of something, whether he will be deserving of that. You got to remember, Duke is carrying an incredible amount of guilt
Yeah.
and rage and responsibility for what happened to his brother. He
Hmm.
blames himself for that. So I don't think Duke ever considers himself being worthy of having a life
Yeah.
after this. Maybe this is a case of annihilate the Marshall Empire and then put a gun to your head. I don't know. That's a form of peace in a way, right? But the nature of the man, he may be dangerous. He may be capable of different, or rather, capable of horrible, terrible things. But the man is not a monster.
Yeah.
Duke is not a monster. Duke has a heart, a very good heart. And he can't help himself when he's in the vicinity of Joy. That's
Hmm.
his sweetheart. That's his first love, you know. And the person who they were gonna have a future together after the heavyweight championship. And that was
Yeah.
ripped away. That doesn't just die necessarily. And so though it isn't Duke's main focus, like a moth to a flame, he's drawn to her, you know.
Yeah.
And like I said before, he that's the nature of the man. It's nuanced. Yeah,
Very
it
nuanced.
does kind of, as you say, impede a little on, but it's joy. And
Yeah.
at one point, she was everything to him. She was the
Yeah.
idea of his future. And so, yeah, to be in close proximity to that again, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For
I
sure.
hope I
I
answered your
think
question.
Yeah, no, you did. You did perfectly. You did perfectly. You did perfectly. Well, thanks so much for chatting with me again. Fingers crossed
My
for season
pleasure.
two because we can't just end season one the way we do. We have to have a season two.
That's
So
right. We've
fingers
got
crossed.
unfinished business. Unfinished
Yeah.
business.
Yes,
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
need season two. I mean, yeah, we need it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So my fingers are
Thanks,
crossed on
man.
that. But enjoy the rest of your day and chat soon.
You too. All the
Thank you.
best.
Hi, Nicholas. How are you doing today?
Hey Trey, how you doing, buddy?
Good, good. It's good to see you again. I was actually some of the person that was in London recently on that hot day. We were outside doing
Oh, it was
interviews.
so hot. It was
So,
amazing. I loved it.
so, me too, me too. It wasn't as hot in New York on that day. So I was, I like the sun a little bit. It was too much. But anyway, I'm so excited to chat with you again,
Yeah.
about Fightland.
hmm
This series captivated me like throughout the entire season. And one thing we talked about the last time I spoke with you is the fact that your
Yeah.
character is kind of like this looming presence in the background. Though we don't see him a lot in those early episodes, we
Yes,
definitely feel him
for
throughout those
sure.
episodes. So when your character is introduced later on in the season, without getting any spoilers away, how much went into that moment to make sure that all the time that the character wasn't on screen, that when we finally do see him and see him interact with his family and interact with Duke, that that moment is very impactful.
I think it was the timing of when he comes back.
Hmm.
Because I think by the time he comes back, you believe he's not coming back because he is this elusive figure.
Hmm.
And when I was reading it, I was thinking, oh, okay, this was a this was a setup and a catalyst for Duke's story to
Hmm.
continue going and everything surrounding that, but we're not going to see him again. And then all of a sudden he comes back again. And you
Yeah.
go, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that, especially at that time. Because what he does is he comes back and he completely derails everyone's plans.
Hmm.
And so he comes and he mixes it all up and he turns everything upside down for everybody else, but it's perfect for him.
And I think that as we see throughout the season, his children have very different ways of handling the business, both the boxing
Yeah,
end
very
and
different
both
ways.
both the crime end. So how do you think, or how would you describe the way that he receives the way that things were handled in his absence?
So Kingsley, if it's not done his way, then it's not done at all.
Hmm.
And he has a very, very stern way with his children of expressing his disappointment. It's dismissive and it's rude and it's when you care about somebody, you think about what you say and what you do because what you do and what you say can affect how they feel.
Hmm.
And so if you care about somebody, that's what you do, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kingsley doesn't care.
So just like
And so
it's
he
like
says and he
his
does
way or anything,
things.
nothing else. His way or
Yeah.
nothing
He
else.
says and he does things that show a deep lack of care for his children.
Hmm.
But they're still there and they still, they still do as he asks.
Yeah.
And he manipulates, so he makes you think that he cares about you. But then he'll do something that will prove otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said before, a lot of plans are full steam ahead by the time Kingsley comes back. And
hmm
like you said, it kind of derails a lot of them. How do you think his return not only upends Duke, but how is Kingsley upended? Because I feel like it's such an interesting dynamic. We see a lot of it in the first episode, but we really don't know all the years of things that have gone down in this
hmm
family and in this relationship specifically. So how do you think his return kind of maybe upends how they're both thinking about their roles within everything that went down?
Yeah, so that's a really, really interesting question. I think Kingsley has to think on his feet when he comes back because not all is as it had seemed before he left. Even though some of the information he knew,
Hmm.
I don't think he was expecting all of the everything that was going on. Even though he had ears and eyes on the ground and he didn't miss a trick, there were a few things that he missed. So I think he was very he had to recalibrate some of his dealings, because you see towards the end of the season where it starts to, I think it's the last maybe 3 episodes, where he starts to just start to unravel.
Hmm. Hmm.
There are certain things that he can't contain and keep a hold of in the way that he once used to.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really interesting part of his journey within this series.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me again. When the
Thank you,
time
Trey.
when we were in London, I'd only seen the first half, so it was so interesting to see more of the mansion that we were
Oh, so
in
you've
that
seen
day.
it all
Yeah,
now?
so now I've seen the auto, so it's so interesting to see more shots of the mansion. I'm like, wow, I was actually in that place doing interviews and saw how beautiful
Yes,
it was
that's
in
right.
person. Yeah, so it's good to piece everything together. But thank you
Yeah.
so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Pleasure. Thank you. You too, buddy.
Hi, Deborah. It's good to
Hi,
see you.
Trey.
We chatted during
Yeah.
during the interviews in London where it was so hot outside. So
Oh,
thankfully we're not in the heat again.
it was
That was the day.
so hot.
It was so hot. It was so hot. But I'm so excited to chat with you. When we chatted before, I'd only seen half the season, so now I've seen the other half. And
Okay.
so when I see the mansion, I'm just like, wow, I was in that place. Like that's where I was. I'm like piecing
Yeah.
things together. So I
Yeah.
was so excited to see so much of that more in the back half of the season. My first question is one of the interesting aspects of in the relationships on the show, I think, is the relationship between Joy and Cece.
Mm.
Is there's a lot of tension. I'm not gonna lie, some parts I was like, Joy, you let her talk to you any kind of way. I'm like, Joy, I need you to stand up at some point because she's doing a lot. She's doing a lot.
Huh.
But it's a tension-filled relationship, and I think that both of them are kind of like towing the line with trying to not push each other's buttons too much. So what was
Mm.
it like bringing that dynamic to life throughout this season?
Oh my gosh. So first of all, AJ's my girl. I love her very much. And I feel like it was so much fun to play with her. And actually playing enemies with someone that you actually like, I realize is the best way to go because you
Hmm.
have that trust there and that chemistry there. And she's a fantastic actress. So like it was just it was a lot of fun to be honest, to just kind of like go back and forth in that way and protect each other as well, you
Hmm.
know? Um, but yeah, like interestingly enough, it's funny because if you've ever heard that saying, play forward to catch the wise, I feel like
Hmm.
that's Joy. I feel
Yeah.
like she's playing the long game.
Yeah.
And so, yes, she could go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, but she's playing the long game.
She has a greater goal in mind. She has a greater goal in mind, basically.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I like that perspective, but I'm not gonna lie. In the moment, I was like, I just
Yeah.
one time, like one time, one time. And one thing I like in the season, just the more of the scenes between Joy and Duke.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that it's interesting because we don't know a lot of the context of their relationship before. We have the scenes in the first episode, but we really don't know. We know that they grew up together. We know things like
Yep.
that, but we don't know the extent of like that relationship. So what was it like being able to, play this in the present day, but also kind of I guess using things that are not on the sheet and not on the paper to be able to inform this deep connection and bond that they have because we really want to see it like how it is years later, not when they were like
Yeah.
actually together.
Yeah, no, it was really beautiful to have those conversations with Howard, with the different directors about like their backstory and like how they came to be. One conversation that we had in particular really helped in that in this conversation we discovered that what Joy feels most hurt about with Duke is that he keeps on choosing himself,
Hmm.
you know, um, and he's been choosing himself and his dreams and his goals. And it's like, wait for me, wait for me, wait for me, wait for me, wait
Yeah.
for me, you know? And I think one, it just really helped me to understand Joy's frustration and her hurt. But also it really helped me to understand that Joy's purpose as well,
Hmm.
because she is really after herself and trying to figure out herself. And the unfortunate piece is that she thinks that she can be found in other people, you know? And
Hmm.
I think in that, I even realized that, wait a minute, the answer is here.
Yeah.
The answer isn't her running off with her first love, you know. The answer is within herself.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really, really interesting. But like those conversations were so important.
And I think you have to like bring the audience into feeling that as well, without us, because again, we don't
Yeah.
see a lot of that, so we have to
Yeah.
be able to feel that as well. I
Yeah.
think that like you and Howard did a great job of doing that
Thank
throughout the
you.
course of
Thank
season
you.
two. Yes. Well, thank you so much. Can't wait to see the rest of the season and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I was
Eh,
lovely to chat with you. I was in London a few weeks ago for the press in that very hot day at the mansion. I know Charles, we spoke, but Anita-Joy, the traffic kept you from speaking
Oh
with
my
us. So
gosh. Oh my gosh. That M25, somebody needs to close that place. It's ridiculous.
It was insane. It was insane, but I'm so glad to be chatting with you now. I enjoyed this season so much. Anita, I'll start with you first. I want to
Mhm.
talk about one of my favorite dynamics in the show. It's the relationship between Cece and Joy, because I feel like, there's a lot of tension there. And Cece is honestly on Joy's neck a lot of the times.
Oh,
I'm like, Joy, stand up sometime. But like, there's so much tension between them. And I don't know, what was it like bringing together like a lot of those scenes with you and Deborah and kind of bringing that tension to the screen?
you know, Deborah is so wonderful. And so it was like a double-edged sword. There was a
Hmm.
joy in getting to kind of like lean into that kind of rivalry and relationship and friction. It was fun. And Deborah is so up for that. But also like when I sort of step out of it and I'm step into, into Anita-Joy, I'm like, I don't want to be mean to Deborah. I love Deborah. Like, I love her. She's an amazing person. So there was always that kind of like challenge of like, okay, you're gonna lean into what Cebella would do. This is not you, and you're not talking
Yeah.
to Deborah, you're talking to Joy. But no, it was so much fun. Leaning into that relationship between these two, and because they're so different,
Hmm.
yet they find themselves in the same world. And you know, Cebella doesn't really allow many people to ruffle her feathers,
Hmm.
and Joy is somebody that just gets under her skin. And and because of that, she's got to cut her every time.
Yeah.
She doesn't give her any breaks
None.
at all. And Zeke doesn't help because Zeke be giving Joy the eye all the damn time. And it's like, Zeke,
He
roll your neck
does.
back in, roll your neck back in, stop it.
And speaking of Zeke, Charles, for you, I want to know for you, we don't really see a lot of these pre-existing relationships before Duke's incarceration. We really only see that one night, and then then of course we're 8 years later. But of course we see that Zeke is very much willing, much more willingly than Cece, to bring and embrace Duke back into the fold. Why do you think he's able to pick that back up so quickly, and what it says about maybe the types of relationships he may be seeking?
Firstly, I think Zeke sees an opportunity. Duke is the former heavyweight champion of the world. He has, irrespective of him spending time in prison, he has big status. He's a celebrity. He's somebody that, it's kind of a light bulb moment for Zeke. He sees an opportunity, and bringing him into the fold, whilst dad is away, it's a smart play. Zeke thinks
Hmm.
it's a smart play. So there's that element to it. But also Duke is someone Zeke admired growing up. Zeke would have been ringside watching all of Duke's fights. Zeke was around the gym whilst Duke was making his way to world champion. So uh, Zeke Zeke. Duke is someone that Zeke has admired growing up, and I want to be close to him. I want to keep him close. And Cece, it's funny because Cece sees the danger, like,
Hmm.
Mhm.
which is very Cece-like before Zeke does.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, thank you two so much for chatting with me. Fingers crossed we get a season two of this show because
Yeah.
we need that. We can't leave season one just like we have to pick back up. So fingers crossed on that, and I hope you both enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you
thank you,
so
Trey.
much,
Thank you
Cheers,
Trey.
so
bro.
much.
From your
Thank you.
lips to God's ears.
Yes, fingers crossed. We're praying. We're praying.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Hi, Tyler and Tahirah. How are you both doing today?
Good, thank you. How are
Hi.
you?
Good, good. It's good to see you again. I was there on that very hot
Yes,
day
I
Yeah,
on
you
remember.
Monday.
were
Yeah.
sweating away
Yes,
in
we were
London.
we were like had the fans, and it was just so hot outside. So
So hot.
thankfully, we're not experiencing the heat right now because
Okay.
No, no, we're
that was
good.
crazy.
Yeah, we
That
don't need
was
to keep the
crazy.
back together.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited to chat with you both again. Tahira, I'll start with you first, and I'm gonna try to not talk spoilers because I'm so like it's in me to talk spoilers, but I'm trying my best not to. So we're gonna try to do this as best as possible. So I think that Kim is a fun character because I feel like she experiences the other characters in different ways. And she
Mm.
has an interesting relationship with the Duke, and there may be ulterior motives there, but ultimately, without talking about what the motives may be, do you think it is all ulterior, or do you think she is drawn to Duke outside of that situation?
For sure. I think that's the most important thing with Kim. I think, yes, she's not, she is being quite calculated and she has to be quite manipulative too in order to, carry out her own intentions, right? But I think really and truly, when it comes to her feelings, I think she's genuine and she's sincere. And I don't think that is something that she can like turn on and off.
Yeah.
I think she definitely has to like push her feelings to the side. But when it comes to Duke, there is a chemistry there, and I think like everything that unfolds between them, I think is genuine, for Kim, definitely.
Yeah.
Because she's definitely, I think if we were in like a different world and, you know, nothing like nefarious was going on, Kim and Duke have so much in common, and
Mm.
there is so much that pulls them together that would do, I think, even outside of this world.
Yeah, yeah. And also I think to go to the lengths that she goes, I think that you have to like be you have to have some sort of like wanting to do that as opposed to just like have your goals set on what she has her goals set on, which
Yeah, no, no.
I'm trying to go between without
No,
spoilers, but I think
exactly. No,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no,
yeah.
100%. And it's so funny. I had this exact conversation on set. And I was like, there's no way that Kim is the type of personality to do certain things
Hmm.
purely um to fulfill her goal. Like,
Yeah,
no way.
yeah,
She does certain things because she's going with her feelings. And if anything, she's probably like, shit, moment of weakness. And she doesn't like being weak.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Tyler, for you, also again, no spoilers, but we do know that your character is reckoning with something because he hasn't really been forthcoming with Duke about, events that we see in the first episode.
Yeah.
And I think that it's interesting because seeing that, which I think is maybe like episode 4 or 5,
Mhm.
seeing the interaction between that and if you look at this series in retrospect, we can kind of see how that's weighing on him through there's like something there that we're really not understanding in the moment, but we can see that I see after
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
comes to light that it's definitely something that's weighing on him and it impacts the way that he shows up for Duke and how he shows up for
Mhm.
Duke. So what was it like being able to kind of play a character who's going through something that one of the people he cares about the most doesn't really understand what
Yeah.
exactly he's harboring.
Yeah, it's a joy really to play a character like that, to have like enough conflict within him, to have something that propels him and like pushes him forward is you're always looking for that as a character, like your reason why, like and
Hmm.
and, and Jay's got such a sense of his reason why. What's interesting about it is that the same thing that weighs on him so heavily is also his fuel and why he does things. And I think that's a really nice like place to be when you're approaching a complicated character. You know what the thing that they need to give off and release, but also that it's propelling them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find it's like easy in the sense of like it's all on the paper for Jay, but it's difficult because there's a lot of conflict and a lot of emotions and a lot of vulnerability that
Yeah.
you have to go through and show to be able to get the character where the character needs to be.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Well, thank you two so much for chatting with me. I need season two, so fingers crossed on season two because we can't just end season one like that. But thank you so much for chatting with me and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Trey.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Trey.
Thank
Take
you. Good to see
care.
you again. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you too.